Hello, colleagues. Good morning, afternoon, evening, everyone. We are really sorry that we should move this translation to YouTube Live, but you still have possibility to communicate with us in chat on YouTube, and we will be very happy to receive reactions and questions from you. And I'm glad to welcome you all to today's workshop. The topic is out of scope, and I think that maybe understanding on the boundaries of scope is essential for effective testing on TestIO platform. First of all, um, we would like to ask you to proceed to Mentimeter. It is Menticom application, and you may join it via this link or using this QR code. I will ask my colleagues also to screen this code and share it on chat on YouTube, so you may use it when you wish. Well, okay, and while you are joining, let me talk a bit about the agenda of our today's meeting. So first of all, it is structured into three case segments to provide a comprehensive understanding of scope-related concerns. We will begin with the theory part introduced by Nicola, and following the theoretical part, we will transition into a practical section where Charlie will demonstrate video examples. Lastly, we will open Q&A session supported by Bruna. And this will be your opportunity to ask any questions, maybe share your experience or seek for advice. And now, in the beginning, let us ask you a few questions in Menti. So first questions is, where are you from, guys? Please don't be shy. Proceed to Menti and submit your answer. Uh, Guys, I would like to ask you to share. Yeah, I see Peru Lima. To share once again on YouTube chat their introductory screen. 1 second. Let me do it by myself, maybe. I see Brazil, Peru, Ukraine. Yes, David, you are first. Let me take the screenshot. Guys, please write in chat if you need me to return to Mentimeter, and I will place also the link. I see that we are here from all over the world, from also Nigeria, Venezuela, United States. Guys, we still wait you in Minty. Bangladesh, cool. Colombia. Glad to see you all here. And our next question is, are you a profi in out-of-scope identification? Please select your answer in Minty. Oh, I see. You prefer Dr. House. Well, I really hope then after this event, you all will select I'm an expert in out of scope. For now, there are no experts as I see. Yes, David, I see a comment about that Minty app is fun. Yeah, it is fun, and we will try to use it more often during our next events. Okay, let's switch to our theoretical part, and I'm passing the word to Nicola. Please, Nicola. Hello, and the stage is yours.
Yes, hello everyone. Welcome to this workshop of Autoscope. And probably you know me already, but if not, I'm Nicola. I'm TL on Test.io, also involved in education part and many other parts. So let's start. As we probably know, we have when you access the test, you will have a test scope. The test scope consists of the terms of this test, access, goal of this test, auto scope, additional requirements, test this futures part, bug types and severities, requested device, and attachments in some cases. So let's start explaining them one by one. We can move on next slide, please. We can go to the next slide. Yep. So, terms of this test. They give important information regarding the test itself. By not following these terms, you will result probably consequences for you and your test.io account. So, for example, if there is a flag, no bookings allowed, that means that you should not try and not place any bookings or reservation on the website or application which you test. So this is strictly these terms you need strictly to follow, and please always follow them. And beside this, you will here find uh, an flag say in which language the bug report needs to be submitted. So in some cases, it can be in English, and in some cases, the bug reporting language is German. So please also always pay attention on this when you are submitting a bug. Now we can move to our others section. Yep. The other sections defines the website or the app that needs to be tested. So this is in most cases, you will find the URL of the app or the web that needs to be tested. So it's mandatory that you start testing from that URL or to download the app which is given here. So also when you open the app, make sure, or when you open the website, make sure that you test the exact build which is provided and the exact app. For example, if the websites have domains like to the US and Germany or Brazil or Spain and something like that, but it is given in the access tab that you need to test only the German version of the website, please stick to it and test only the German version, or if it's not instructed otherwise. Now we can move to the goal of this test. So goal of this test usually defines the website or app. Goal of this test usually covers the general purpose of the test itself. Usually here you can find information, what was done, what was changed, and so on. So it will give you some short overview of what needs to be tested. So please make sure to read it carefully and proceed with the instructions or focus on parts which are mentioned here. Now we can go to the auto scope. So the auto scope section is most important section uh, to say in the test cycle itself, and it specifies what should not be tested, or in other words, what is out of scope. Disregarding out of scope section can have a big consequences for you. So, for example, if something is written that is not in scope of that test, for example, we took if you can take a look at the previous access section, we have test.io website to be tested, and test.io website consists of English and German version. So if it's written in the auto scope that the German version is not in the scope of that test, you should not go to that page. You should not try to find bugs and so on. So you should avoid this part of the website. Or for example, if it's written that become a tester page is not in the scope, then you should not go to the to this page. Although maybe there is a feature, for example, become a tester page, which explain that you should test it. But if it's written in the auto scope that this is not in the scope, please avoid it. Or if you're unsure or something like that, reach out to TL for clarification. Or for example, if you have a landing page, and let's talk about quality section, which we have on our test.io website. That's a form on landing page. But if it's written that it is auto scope, you should skip that part of the landing page and test every other parts. So please read it always carefully and make sure that you strictly follow the rules which we have here. Now we can proceed to additional requirements. Additional requirements. In this part of the test scope, usually maybe in some cases not, it can be blank of course, but in some cases the additional requirements will be provided here. For example, if you have an important note that for functional bugs you need to add and browser console to your report, you must follow this and you should add and browser console to your report. So of course there always and additional requirements are important, so also make sure that you stick with them and try to follow them strictly. For example, if also on some website requires a VPN to be used and you find the bug which is and in case that you are they're not using the VPN and VPN is required, that bug will be of course out of scope. So also follow the requirements always and from additional requirements section. Now we can move forward. The next part is test these features. So the features specify the part or the functionality of the website that needs to be tested. You should only submit bugs if the if the corresponding feature exists. For example, if you have footer feature on the website, that means that you should only test the bottom part of the website. Of course, if it's not specified otherwise in the feature itself. But usually, in the if you have a feature footer, then this means that only bottom part is in considered under this filter. Yeah. Every other link, for example, if you offer privacy policy or sitemap link, if it's not specified again in the future description, this is not covered by the future part and should not be reported. So always try to report only the bugs that are covered with the given feature. Otherwise, the bugs will be out of scope if the no corresponding feature exists. Same and for bug types, but we will discuss this in next slide. So bug types. You can check for each test their bug types included. For example, that those can be only functional bugs or just content or mixed or all of them, such as functional, visual, content bugs, and so on. Uh, Keep in mind that not always are all bug types enabled, and you should report only the bugs that are listed, which you can see in the payout tab. Of course, some features, for example, navigation feature can have only functional bugs to be reported, although you see content bugs in the payout table, but it does not mean that content bugs can also be available for all features. So, for example, navigation feature can cover only the functional bugs. The landing page feature can cover only content bugs, or for example, functional content. You can check this by opening also the feature description and check which bug types are allowed. If you submit, for example, although there is a content bug in the payout table, but if the feature does not allow the functional bugs or content bugs whatsoever, you should not report it. So if the feature allows only functional bugs, you need to report just functional bugs and nothing else. You cannot report content bug as a functional bug because it will be out of scope. So also please always pay attention to this. Otherwise, you will experience a rejection. We can move, we can move to the next slide. Okay, so the next part is requested device. Uh, as you know, for each test, you are invited for a specific device of yours that needs to be with which you need to test the given app or website. So make sure that you always test with your requested device. Otherwise, for example, as you can see in the picture, if you have a requested device from Windows PC, you cannot report bugs from mobile. And also you can check this by opening the submit a bug form, and at the end in device selection you will see with which devices you will have possibility to report the bug. Of course, for bronze, silver, gold, and diamond testers, they will have flexible device selection after 50% of the test has elapsed. So in the other 50, well, in the second half, to say you will have these testers will have possibility to test with all the available device, of course, which are in the scope of the test. So make sure that you always test with your request device, and you can check this by going to submit a bug form and check if you are able to submit with which device you can submit a bug. We can move now to the attachments. Yep. So the attachments, this is they are not provided in all tests. In some cases, they can be provided, and they can have different, to say, meanings. Some of them will give you additional requirements. Some of them will give you how to report bugs with which severities and so on. So they usually provide important information. So if they are available, please make sure to read them carefully or go or watch it. Depends if it's a video or it's some PDF document on something like that. So yeah, make sure always to check in this part. Of course, they are not always available, and they are quite located in the right sidebar. So below the payout table, you will find them if they are available. So of course, make sure always to check them if they're available, and make sure to read them carefully. We can move now to the last one. Oh, it's not the last one. Sorry. Oh yes, it is. So what is always out of scope, unless it's stated differently in the test scope, of course. So those are legal problems at first. We are not legal advisors, so legal problems are out of scope always. Then we have problems related to broader extensions such as blockers. For example, ad blockers can sometimes have impact on the website functionality. So my advice is that always to always before starting the test, disable the ad blocker if any, and proceed with tests, because with them you can experience some functionality or some bug which cannot be reproduced, or reproduced only with ad blockers, which can be out of scope. Then we have a website content changed by Google Translator. So, of course, keep in mind you can use Google Translator to navigate through the website. But if you find a bug, you should not record it with Google Translator option. You need to disable it, reproduce the bug, and then if the bug is reproducible, to report it. Otherwise, this bug will be out of scope because it's generally not caused by the website functionality, it's caused by the translator itself. There are many cases, so also be aware with that. Next one is issue with geolocation. Some app or website can, like we discussed before, can require a VPN, and without VPN, you will not be able to access the website or the app. So if you have some issues with geolocation, try to reach out to DL or something like, or use VPN if it's stated in instruction, and proceed with testing. Otherwise, bugs which are caused by geolocation, for example, forbidden errors, mostly they are usually out of scope. And the last one is setup problems. So there are many, like environment not working, or the credentials for environment are missing, and so on. In these cases, you should always reach out to DL and ask and point out what's wrong. DL will help you, of course, reach out to CSM and so on. But setup problems are out of scope because they're not generally valid bugs. And of course, if something is unclear or contradicting, reach out always to TL, and you can find more information about the setup problems itself and so on in the test scope article in our Test.io Academy. And that's all from my side.
Thank you very much, Nicola, for this presentation. Also, I guess that you can stay with us to answer questions in future. I will return you, Nicola, to the stage. Thank you very much. And now I am passing the word to Charlie. And guys, once again, posting in our chat the link to Minty. So please proceed to Minty, and you will have opportunity to participate in quizzes, to interact with us. It will be really cool. So Charlie, it's your turn. The stage is yours.
Yes, thank you, Rina. Thank you for tuning in, everyone. This is another fun part, and it's how can we analyze this box from, let's say, from a team leader perspective. So let's go jumping right into it, please.
Yeah, just
Thank you.
once
Yeah,
again, I would
yes.
like to share QR code for a few seconds.
Absolutely. Please remember the scope, what everything that Nicola just shared. If you took notes, hopefully, so it will be easier the next part.
Okay, let's move to the
Let's hit the
examples.
road. Yes, please. So what we need to start uh, observing here is from the very beginning. Is that this is a good practice for you? Is we are indeed we are reviewing bugs, but this is a good practice for you to start seeing on your own screencasts. Are they in scope? Is this the browser is in scope? Are we showing the correct information, date and time of when the bug was found? Are we on the correct page? So please take in consideration this, considering when we are, so we got a couple of good things here. I believe you already identified the feature the user is interacting with and the result of that action. So let's go for it. Is it in or out of scope? Perfect navigation feature. Low bar according to the academy. Okay, we got 3. Any going without? No one. Remember the scope, remember the out of scope section, last part, perhaps. Okay, we got all in. Well, this is indeed a low bug because it's a navigation feature. Good one, David Rose. However, low bugs are out of scope, and it was clearly stated in the test overview. So this is common. We see it on the right panel. We see often severities there, but indeed there is a section where the customer stated low bugs are out of scope. And I remember a question about why is enable, why sometimes it's enable this severity, but then it says it's not. Well, that depends on the type of test. Perhaps this is a regression test, and the customer wants to tackle significant bugs that significantly impact users. So low bugs are, that's one of the main reasons and one of the many reasons they don't want to work on low bugs on a specific test. So this is out of scope. Let's go with the next, please.
Oh, Charlie, let's maybe answer the questions.
Oh, another
Just
question. Yes,
because it
please.
is related to this video, as I guess. Yeah. Could you please answer this question? This is navigation feature low bug according to academy. Yeah. And
Yes,
I'll.
yes.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Yes, that is what I was saying. It's indeed a navigation feature, the breadcrumb navigation, and as per our standards, this is considered a low bug, low
Mhm.
severity bug. Yes, that's correct. Am I missing something?
Okay. David, if you would like to ask more, yeah, yeah, I can also show your comment.
That one, yes. So no, yes, but what Nicola started the out of scope is the most important part of the overview overview page. So if you want to establish whether which is more important, you go with goal of this test, out of a scope of this test, and feature descriptions. The rest is kind of an additional to that. But the overview and the out of scope and the goal of this test is the most important part. Whatever is stated on the side panel, as is enabled or not, they might have forgotten to disable that. They just reuse, just duplicated a test. So they just want, because whatever the reason is, they have time constraints and they need to run a test right now with the crowd. They just copy a test and they realize that if was low bugs were selected visible, and so they just added a note in the out of scope because that's the place where we have to go
So let's go on.
there. It is, yes, please. It is, David Rose. Agree.
Mhm.
Mm,
Okay, so I'm showing the next one.
please. Yes. Let's see. Remember, is it the browsing scope? Is it the device in a scope? Is it the type of bug in a scope? Can you see that? Please identify the feature, identify the whatever is highlighted with the pointer. All right, I believe we can move to the questions.
Yep.
Thank you. So what do you
So
think,
guys,
guys?
which feature?
All right, we got two. Someone home. I'm just going to select footer just to have some numbers there. Home, interesting. All right. Two, four. Perhaps we are missing some vote. Okay, so let's move to the next question, please. Okay, so 5 navigation then. Okay, is it in or out of scope? Out, all right. We start with out. Is it in or out of scope? Out, all right. A thin line. Do you think so, David Rose? Why is it thin? I actually, I'm about to tackle that. Right, for one. Or so, okay, yes, the feature is the navigation. Is remember, and why is not home? Well, navigation, as any navigation feature, is always presented on an environment to help users navigate. That's what the name is. It stands for navigate to any place. So you are, whether you are on a PDP or you are in checkout. Well, sometimes it changes, but it's the idea is to wherever you are in the environment, you can navigate to the place where you want. While the home page is all the content between the navigation top or the categories and subcategories on top and the footer, everything in the middle is home page. Whatever is there, sometimes the newsletter is there, sometimes that is a separate feature, sometimes the newsletter is in the footer. So whatever it is, and that's one of the tricky parts. So I was asking, I was highlighting if it's a thin line, because if you think about it, there are two sections, and everything in between on the page, on the first page, users land is homepage. So basically, it's actually a very thick line. So it is indeed a newest issue. I got that same problem. Probably I'm still seeing it with this green corn test that I believe you hear about it with our newsletters. So this is navigation feature, and it is in scope because if you see, even though it's you have it's German, it's related to German. There is no change in any content on the page. It's not going the um, to the TESAIO in German version. So it's missing the German word. So that's missing content, missing text that as you know, is one of the scenarios listed in a content bug article. So this is unfortunately is in a scope, but you got most of you got right the navigation. So let's go with the next one, please. Good job. Good question. I like the questions. So many. All right, so this one. Oh no, I kind of spoiled this one. So I believe we already got the feature identified. Then, okay, there is some interaction with subcategories. What could it be? Let's see. Let's move to the questions, please, Irina.
So
Oh
guys,
yes,
type
I
of bug.
like this one. Like this one very much because, okay, it's functional. Anyone would like to elaborate what is a functional or what is a content? That would be cool. Okay, well, I hope you are okay. The page changes. Finally, global. Okay. So, okay. So that would be what for you, David? Functional content, visual. Visual. Why would be visual? Well, whatever. Some of you are writing, elaborating on it. Can we move to the next question, please, Irina? Is it in scope or no? Or out? Okay. In, out, all right. This is tricky because we are, if we go to the website and we see it, we will have another assessment, but let's base our assessment on what we are seeing. Okay. It's a problem in the part responsible to change the language of the site. All right. Anyone would like to, anyone who selected content? Well, one of the tricky things with out of scope is something like this. We are um, the test says that it should be because the language doesn't change. Well, first of all is correct navigation is the feature. Second of all, this is out of scope. And where is it out of scope? Because we immediately, the user immediately switch the content of the website. And if we have most of our tests, it would have stated, oh, this is key. If it's not said, we test the default version of the URL we get. But sometimes, and most of the time, if we have to test a specific language, you can see it at the URL. So reading the URL at the end will say the German or English, EN is PST for Spanish. So there are many ways in which we can detect which language should be tested, but most of the time it's English, and is if it's other, that's the rule of thumb. If they want to test us something different, uh, a different version of the website, that would state it in the goal of this test or something in the test in the overview page. So here the test, test goes to the German version of the page of the site and interacted with some navigation elements. So the first click, the first two clicks to change the version of the website, yeah, it's already, it just made it already out of scope because we don't suppose to test that language. Even if we are not just switching and checking that some things went wrong, just changing it is out of scope. And this is why, answering to Banano from Brazil, I believe, I read it, we are changing the content of the website, not the functionality. So we can, every time we have these language problems with switching, this includes location switching, currency change switching. This is content bug. It should be content bug if it's in scope, because this functionality only changes the content of the bug. It cannot change functionality. Otherwise, it would be too complex, a very complex environment. So please consider problems like this as content bugs, never functional bugs. It only changes the purpose of this. Toggling is only changing the content of the page. All right, so thank you so much for participating. Let's go with the next one. We have many. This is cool because it's just a matter of seeing and going over and over this, like it is improving testing skill is only a matter of working. Well, this is the same. So we have many options here. You can see, please, intentionally shown the URL. All right, so please identify the feature. We have only 3 in scope. Please observe the actions, the elements users and the user is interacting. My pleasure, Banano. So let's move to the question. To the questions, please, Irina. And what type of book is this one? Okay. Content, we have 404. Okay, we're certain with this one. Anyone would like to tell us why this is content or functional? Pagkabathi, you got cool. Content. Okay, so, and of course we need to know what do you think, is it in a scope or not? Please, let's move to the next one, Irina. The question. Is it in or out of scope? Inside of or outside the scope? There's not in the footer. Correct. If it is, yes, it is not at the top, not at the bottom. So, and it's the page the user just landed. So it is indeed home. In scope. Yes. Correct. This is in scope. It is indeed a content bug. Because the bottom is in between the navigation and the footer, so the top navigation elements. So it can never be on our platform, of course. It could never be considered a functional bug, even if one of those that says, there's e-commerce always stands out some products. Sometimes they say shop now. Even if those navigators 2 or 404, even if it's a product, it would be considered the same as a content bug because of the location. Remember, bugs are context related. So we need to think of where it's located, how is it happening, what are the actions involved. Everything is important. Yes, content. Thank you so much. In a scope and is indeed content bug, so never functional. and never functional high severity. No. Let's go with it. Move to the next one, please.
We have one question.
Cool. If it leads to, depends of what kind of blank page is this one. Is it everything? There is nothing, or if there is on top, header and footer. This just could be an empty page. It won't be a problem there. We can. There are let's see. I come up with two scenarios. First, the first one is this category or this element or is important for the customer and frequently is shown on is offer on the website. So for some reason, seasonal, for instance, they didn't updated this page. They just removed the previous element and they just let the element there, the bottom, the link, everything there. So that's indeed not a good user experience. We can still consider a content bug. Is everything wide? Yes, probably it could be a functional issue. For that, thank you for bringing this up. For that, we have to go. We have to see dev tools. We have a dev tools collection on our academy to investigate what is happening. But usually we have a console message, something to tell us that. But if we have navigational components, it would be content bug. We can accept forward that for we know what might be the reason for that empty page, but we accept it as content and we forward those to customers so they know they exist. They forgot to remove, to hide this page, this element, update the link, for instance. This could be the scenarios I can think of.
I would also want to add.
Oh, please.
Yeah, it also depends of which page, where you experience this. For example, if you experience this on the checkout process and so on, of course, it can be upgraded to a functional bug. So yes, it depends also on from the functionality of the website itself, and also, like Charlie said, you can always open the console log and check, for example, if it's thrown 404 page. Of course, that's content, but if it's on checkout process and it's blocking the user for it's, of course, it will be upgraded to functional bug. And if it's just some, for example, deals page, like one-time page, and it's throwing 404, then it'll be a content bug. So you should, let's say, to understand which functionality is affected and so on, and check what's the cause of that blank page, and then to get a severity.
Yes, thank you, Nicola. Well, Albanano, I suggest to go to our academy. There you have the dev tools, or you can just look up for console on our academy, and you will get the article, so you can inspect that because it's quite. I'm thinking you experience similar as we are showing it on the screen. So you can tell, and maybe you can tell us on Discord. That would be cool. Okay, this one. Let's go with this one, please. Thank you, Rina. What is it this? Is it in scope? Are we same environment? I mean, the browser is in scope with the device, the actions. Please identify the feature. And let's move to the question. Yes, thank you. Is PC two options? Yes. Visual content. just for the record, something I sometimes is missing content. All right. Let's see. Well, okay. So I don't missing content is out of scope. May I know why? Is in or out? Team. Which one? In or out? So visual content, or and is it in or out? Unless clearly stated instructions. Okay, Felipe, it's been a while. Well, I'm confused why you consider David Rose out of scope, because this is a content bug indeed. The text is trimmed unintentionally for what we can see. Some customers. Oh yeah, probably yes, that's true. Some customers may not consider that, but it doesn't matter as far as team leaders accept the bug. So it's all right. Oh no, well, no, this is different. This is someone mentioned this missing content. Oh, you mentioned this. Yes, missing content. Spelling errors is different. Where content bugs are related to the information provided to users, to end users. That means components, link images, videos, and text. If the text is not fully provided, then it is indeed a content bug for us. And whether the if it's not important and it is stated on the overview page, so that would be indeed out of scope. But for this, for what we presented as the scope of the test, it is in the scope, and it is a content bug, visual bugs for those who may or may not think of that option. Visual is how this information is presented. So it's not the information itself, it's how it is presented. That's why the scenarios listed on the visual box article are overlapping, cut off, responsiveness issues, because it's how it is presented. Okay. Yes, so yes, that's exactly why we are here, is depending on the scope of the test. That's exactly, yes, yes, thank you for pointing that out, David Ross. Okay, let's go with the next one, please, Irina. We're almost ending. I'm feeling sad already. This is fun. Okay, so please identify the feature, identify the interactions, the elements, what the user is doing. There are many elements in this one. I mean, at least that possibilities to get this one run or right. Or I believe I know which which product you were testing, David, was yes, that for scripting it must be the same. Which feature, home feature, navigation? Oh, all right. We have three features in the scope. Is a narrow, very narrow scope, but we have others. Remember testing one with just one feature, and it was not everything. So that one went wild. Okay, navigation or home. Do you remember the URL? Navigation feature home. Okay. Chatbot. Do you identify the element correctly? Okay, so it's home or navigation apparently, and is it in a scope or outside of the scope? Yes, Bhagavathi. Yes, it is the chatbot, the intercom button. Is it in or out of scope? Alrighty. Yes, this is okay. Let's go. Let's recap. First, the user was already in the become a tester page, which was mentioned as out of scope. So starting there is already out of scope. But then let's move further because this is important. I've seen this bug so many times that's why we are presenting it here. The chat button, intercom button, whatever button is a chatbot is first is it cannot be considered navigation. Please remember the navigation help any navigation feature. The purpose is to help users to go to specific places no matter where they are. So that's why the footer is always presented in most cases. That's why the header is presented in most cases. The shut button is not navigating users to anywhere. It's usually a third party. Hence, whatever happens there, it would be most likely impossible for the customer to fix anything. So, for instance, our button, chatbot, is an intercom button, and intercom is a company. It's not Tesla your company. It's not related. It's a completely separated businesses. So that's why is usually first shouldn't be tested, no matter what, unless it says or unless it's the chat button of the customer and it states the chat button should be tested. There is a feature where it's mentioned, but it was indeed not part of any feature. So become a tester out of scope and then not belonging to any feature. Another reason why it is out of scope. And 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 then the oh no, that's it. Those are the most important parts. So please avoid this feature as well. Similar to switching languages, changing the location. As a rule of thumb, please don't test the chat unless it's stated in the overview page, in the goal of this test, in the scope of the test. Thank you. Yes, this one. And finally, let's see, is it worth it to test this form? Please identify the feature. Please identify the components, what is meant to be the section, and this is another part. We are moving from identifying element. We started with identifying main features to identifying where these elements are located, specifically this chatbot. And now we move to the section, to identifying sections on a page. So just one question. Also, this is the last one. Is this in or outside the scope? Out or right? Wide? Wide is it in out of scope? I would like to. This one is very simple. Just one question, because I know this. I'm taking too much of your time. In or out? In. Why is it in? Any of those? I'm very much interested in knowing what is your perception, your opinion. So you identify the URL. Remember, please. Oh, there's a URL article on our academy. I please go for it. I always try to recommend, especially to new testers, because URL parameters reading or analyzing or identifying parameters in, the URL is one of the most basic but powerful technique for us as a manual exploratory testers. If we know where we are, we know exactly what to test. If we are in a scope, how can we already have information to add to the bug form, to our report. We also know where should we go in, or where we from where we're coming. So I call it basic, but it's not because it's easy. It is not. I'm calling them basic because it's one of the building blocks we have when I started testing. This one is one of those. And if you know how to read URLs, you have worked, I don't know, 30% of further of what you are now. So please go for it. Because the form inside the home link, I'm reading David Rose comment, similar to a PLP or POP maybe. Oh, okay, we are okay. Product listing page or product overview page or product, let's go for product detail page. Those are standard features. Other than that are product information pages, product services pages, product content pages. Those are different, and usually they are not in scope. We didn't tackle this because that's another topic. Is we have to see too many examples to understand whether which is which. But as you know, everything that has products for e-commerce, we have features for those. If they don't have products, that would most likely belong to a different page, to a different feature. And if we cannot see a feature on the test setup, the goal of this test doesn't say anything about these specific features or pages, and even if the out of scope doesn't say anything, these generic or temporary pages, Nicola mentioned that before, these pages are probably outside of the scope, and they're in a completely different status level compared to more important features on e-commerce, which is product detail pages, product listing pages, and of course product detail pages. In or out? Well, as you remember the out of us, can we get back to the screencast, Irina, please? Please take a look at the URL of in the screencast. And then this was, I wanted to say that we moved from identifying features to now we navigated to identify sections on a page, which is very important for us for many reasons. And one of the reasons, like for this test, is we can see at the URL it says form. Probably it's a little small, but you can tell that then we navigate to the section that is the stock quality. And in the out of scope section is the for item, and it says it should be out of scope. It should not be tested because it's listed there. So if we miss the section, which is the stock quality, we have form there. So, and it's mentioned form in the out of scope section. So it's not worth it to test, even if it's the only element we can think of testing for to hunt some functional bugs. If it's out of scope, please don't waste your time on that. Just focus on just go back to the overview. This is a training. This is part of what we need to get used to it, to remember to to get this the flow of reading and navigating to testing, and to go on the in the environment and start testing the features. In the beginning, we have to, it's a back and forth. You go and compare. Okay, yes, this is in scope. Probably double check. Let's ask on the chat, because the team leaders of Tesla are really cool and they will answer your questions. So we do. So go there and ask, is this in scope or no? But in the beginning, it's some back and forth. And then with some time and many tests, you will just read it once and you can test more fluently, if I can say. So this is out of scope. So thank you so much for your questions. Please, if I miss anything, we are just starting the Q&A section with Bruna. So please, Astana, I really enjoyed this. Thank you so much, Irina, team, and oh, this is really cool.
Thank you, Charlie. Yeah, cool interaction between our listeners and speakers. Yeah, and now we are moving to Q&A sessions. And honestly, I would like to start with questions that we have in chat. Yeah, can we? I will try to find these comments at the beginning. Okay, maybe this one from David. What happens when instruction says not order or bookings, and in the features there are user stories or information that says proceed to checkout or similar? So maybe, I don't know, Charlie, maybe you would like to answer this question.
Oh, yes. Well, interesting, because this is we transition from navigation footer to another feature, which is the checkout. And booking is completely different from testing the checkout. Checkout is a process that starts after move. The term is pushing the items from the car to the checkout, and we can do that, and then we can go to the checkout, and but finalizing that, like placing the order, paying, or in some cases triggering payment methods. That's what's not allowed. Just that part. That's what these not order or bookings is referring to. Is not to not checking the checkout. If the checkout feature is which is um, user information, shipping information, payment information, all contains the items parameters or items specifications, which variety were, color, size, whatever was the element there. All that is collected in one piece, and then that information goes through the server after placing the order. But we should not place the order. End the process by clicking paying, ordering, or whatever similar word, or pay, including paying with PayPal, Amazon, Apple Pay, wherever those buttons are, those are triggering this most likely. So that's what this refers to. It doesn't is not telling you to not tell the checkout. Plus, the checkout is one of the most important features on an e-commerce. So I believe most customers would like to know what is happening there, and for you, most functional bugs you will find there. So please always test those, but never click on place order, pay, or something similar. Never trigger. Not even clicking on. Sometimes you see the credit card information, and you just click submit to trigger the validation and to see which kind of validation has been implemented. But even that, please avoid that, because that's also triggering payment processes in the background, and that's what we would like to prevent with this not order or bookings. But for that, we also have a video. We have an academy article. So if you just go over those, we will share them in a bit. But please test the checkout. The checkout is very important, and and not only that, think of checkout in interaction with the cart, because those are very fundamental part. It's basically 80% of an e-commerce, so of what is important for a customer. So please always test it, unless it's not a feature in the scope. Is said in the out of scope says no. Don't test the checkout process, or in the goal of this test it says test everything except the checkout. Well, otherwise, please go for it. I hope I answered the
Yeah,
question.
thank you for the clarification, Charlie. And one more question, also from David. Sometimes the instructions in additional information says not low bugs, but in the payout section, a low payout is present. Why is this?
Oh, yes, this one we covered,
Mm-hmm.
but it's all right.
Already. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we covered it. But the reason is, whatever the reason is why on the payout is present severity that is supposed to not be there, what matters is what was written by the customer on the overview section page. That what matters. So nothing else. So always go for that, for what it says on the overview.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you very much, Charlie. So
Absolutely.
let's proceed with questions that we received in a shared form that we sent to our freelancers before we announce this workshop. Yeah, and here I should introduce Bruna, who will support this Q&A session again. So let's start maybe with first one. And what else I should say that we selected only questions which were related to out of scope topic. And I just would like to remind you that you guys may ask questions on YouTube, in Discord, in chats, and our community members, our team leaders will always try to answer your questions. So let's start with this first one. Can there be a request for user to edit bug type form, either functional to content or vice versa, when testers make the mistake instead of straight rejection as out of scope? Um, yeah, any comments, or I can comment if needed.
Yeah, so guys, my name is Bruna, and I'll keep this segment as Q&A. And for this first question, we thought maybe telling you that these features cannot be changed either from content to functional or visual to functional. These are different features, so it cannot be changed. But if you want to suggest like a usability suggestion for the platform, you can send your suggestion for us in this link that Irina sent on the chat, which is Tessayokeni. And there you can see like other testers' suggestions and how we're implementing them or discussing about them. So if you have any suggestions, go there. But again, just this question. These are different features, so it cannot be changed, unfortunately.
Okay, let's proceed to the next one. What is out of scope and in which cases can out of scope be rejected and why? I think that maybe during the whole our event we already answered this question, but maybe just to summarize something.
Yeah, so probably a lot of testers don't know like the OOS, it's out of scope. So out of scope features, out of scope is like you cannot test there. Basically these are features or pages or languages. Out of scope is always, it's a really important part of the test. So whenever you go to the overview of the test, you have like the terms of the test, the goal, and then the out of scope. As Charlie and Nicola mentioned, the out of scope is one of the most important parts, even before features. So, like Charlie said, go of this test, then out of scope, and then feature. So you always take in consideration the out of scope.
Yeah, thank you. Be careful with instructions, guys. So let's proceed. And the next question was, could you add a suggestion section for out of scope instead of outright rejections? This could be a more constructive approach. I think that we already also answered to such questions. Please, guys, reach us in Discord, place your suggestion on Kanye board, and we are always open to discuss it in future. Bruno, do you have something to add in this question?
Yeah, I know a lot of us don't like to get rejections, and we'll talk more about that on the next question. But if it is out of scope, then the client, the customer, doesn't want it to be tested. So be really careful, read it thoroughly, so you can know, so you will know what it is to test, not out of scope. So yeah, it is neither the TL or you cannot change the feature. So if if it is out of scope, then it will get rejected because all of the things Nicola and Charlie told us today.
Moving further, and the next question is, in a regression test for an application with specific features, are bugs that are not relevant to the features deemed to get rejected?
Yeah, this question answers it basically because if the feature you think it's not going to be relevant for the client, for the customer, then it's probably out of scope, because if it's not relevant, like the client won't fix this, so it is out of scope, and then it's probably best for you not to report it. So again, reading thoroughly the instructions and the out of scope section will help you know if it is relevant for the client or no. And if it is in the feature, then yes, it's relevant. If it's not, and in the features, or if it is on the out of scope, then it's not relevant. So don't report it.
Thank you. Okay, the next one. Is a feature out of scope if it is not listed under the test these features instructions of the overview page? Is a feature in scope if it is not listed under the out of scope instructions.
Yeah, two questions in one. So, is a feature out of scope if not listed? Yes. If it's not on the features, if it's not on the goal of the test or the additional requirements, it is out of scope. So don't test it. Don't report it. If it is in scope and not listed under out of scope instructions, uh, that's hard. But if it is on the feature list, it is in scope. But if it is in the feature list and it's in the out of scope, then it's out of scope. Remember the order that we said before. Goal of the test, out of scope, and then features. Because sometimes features don't get updated from one test to another, and they just duplicate, like Charlie said. And then the features say that you have to test. But in out of scope, it said that you don't have to test, then don't test it. It's out of scope. Remember this order.
Thank you. Let's go on. And seems it is our last question. Very
Yeah.
interesting. How can I be a tester who does not make mistakes?
Yeah, we got some of that. How can I be a tester who doesn't make mistakes? And the answer is you can't you cannot be a tester if you don't make mistakes. I mean, if you don't try, you won't know it. You will make mistakes. Every one of us made mistakes in the past, and that's how we grow. That's how we can be better testers. You will get rejections at some point, but the important thing is for you to learn with it and read our academy and talk to us in Discord community. Uh, be Participate from with our events and ask questions. The thing that made me learn a lot this past month was to ask questions to the more experienced ones in Discord. And because I made mistakes, I got rejections, and then I learned with it. That's the most important part. Learn with it, read the academy, talk to us, and you will be a better tester. But the mistakes are part of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I totally agree. Yes, please, Charlie.
Also, yes. Now I was thinking that's very true, and mistakes are is the core of what we do. We test because developing any product knows that there are mistakes, and so without mistakes we cannot test. So imagine if we if we don't have mistakes, where is the purpose of testing? So does this apply? The same applies for us. It's the only way we can grow if we make mistakes. Of course, and that's if we reflect on the mistake recently made or made 2 months ago, and then we face it again, and we do the act the same as before. Okay, that's counterintuitive. We face the problem, we make a mistake, we learn from it, and then we just grow a little more and a little more and a little more, and little by little you gain this what we call experience. The experience is just the sum of mistakes reflected. You reflecting on those things. That's the only way possible. So we are here because you cannot believe how many times um, I thought like having here navigation and home are and footer could be like a thin line among these things, but and it happened to me several times until I realized, okay, no, this is. I started to take notes. I started to go back, getting back to team leaders' rejection reasons, get back to the academy, watching all the videos once and again and again, and then okay, I made these mistakes 4 or 5 times, but then I learned, and then never happened again. So Please make all mistakes, but reflect on them.
Yeah,
Thank you
and
very
it's
much, guys.
important
Yeah.
to, as the team leader of the test, because we will be there to help you, and we'll know how to lead you the way, the right way. So it's important to talk to someone. If not on Discord, then the TL will help you. And again, that's why we insist so much for you to read the academy and read the test instructions. One thing I learned a lot this past month is take some time to read the overview, to read the test instructions, and it will be so much easier for you to test along the way. And then if you don't know anything, ask someone, ask the team leader, ask some of us at Discord. And that's the thing that got me here, for example. So
Exactly.
Thank, yes. Thank you very much for such encouraging words. And now we have only one last question to you. Please, guys, please submit. How do you like this workshop? How do you feel now? Yes, we really hope that you all learned a lot and will become
Cool.
experts in out of scope. Yeah. Yeah, we
We
are
will
always
improve.
yeah, we are always looking for your feedback. Please, you may write it here on YouTube. You also may contact all of us in Discord. Please, we are waiting for your suggestions always.
Indeed, we are.
Yeah. So, guys, thank you very much for participation, for interaction, a lot of questions. I see a lot of
Mm.
activities. Thank you very much for our speakers for this presentation. Really cool examples. So, and I think that we can stop this stream. Thank you and goodbye. Bye bye.
Thank you.
See
Bye,
you
everyone.
soon. Bye
bye
Cheers.
bye.
bye.
Oi.